Well, hello, Bob Dandry here, and welcome back to Transport Fever 2, The Long Game. So we're starting off this episode with this, I guess, a bit of a scene of a quite congested stretch of track. Let's have a look and see what's actually happening there. So as we can see, we have quite a lot of trains waiting to come through here. Quite a lot. We're actually probably backing up. Yeah, look at this. That is no good for our network throughput. And it's because we do have a bit of a bottleneck right here between Peoria and Albuquerque, where we do drop down to double track while also having a bit of a split as well. So first things first, what I want to do in this episode is to fix that. Now, this station over here, we actually don't do anything with because you may remember we built it as part of I think it was a machinery chain, and then the industry disappeared. So we did leave it standing in place there, but it's not really required. I'm going to quickly pause, and what we're actually going to do is double track this section. So we do want our overheads to be flowing here. And we can punch it through this tunnel as well. And hopefully, but we're going to need to fix up that road there. That is a little bit silly. Actually, we'll pop that there. And we will need to fix that. So we can punch that through, and we can put a double slip in there as well. Right, so we've got our double slip. That is pretty much all we need. Though I'm thinking we'll probably extend our double track through to the station as well. We could probably actually just double track the rest here anyway. We've only got a few short sections of single track, and those are probably going to act as sort of handbrakes on our capacity. So we may as well just fix it while we're doing this all now. This is going to cut it very fine there, but we will fit it in, which is good. Just about anyway. And we'll get our double slip in here. We can start running again, so we will switch it back on. And then, yeah, we're just going to get the rest of the way signaled. And we have unlocked some further light signals as well. All right, beautiful. So that's all done. So that should hopefully start to speed up our throughput on this section of track. Additionally, we've talked about sex duplicating this section of track, the Peoria Bank. Not going to do a full 6-track setup. What I'm going to do, we're going to do something similar to what we originally had when we first built this and started to run into capacity issues. I'm actually going to add a relief line heading up the hill, and what I'm going to try and do is see if we can have empty trains using one set of tracks and full trains using the other set, and that should hopefully allow us to segregate what's going up here a little bit more. Potentially we might have maybe some faster full trains using the same set of tracks as the empty trains as well, but that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to run it a little bit further than it originally ran when we were using the relief line before. We're probably actually going to run it into the tunnel and have it join back up sort of in the tunnel itself. And why we're doing that is that it's going to allow our slower trains to get up a bit more speed rather than starting from basically a standing start on a quite significant incline. I'm trying to use autosig, but it is not working. So we're going to have to manually signal this, I guess. Okay, we've got auto signals now. All right, so we've got our 5th track, and now I'm going to go through and try and capture some of the freight trains that are using this corridor, and probably just try and go an even split, but try and keep our fully laden trains on one set of tracks as well. LA to Laredo Stone is a really good example of where we can do this. These are running very slow, as you can see. And we can add in, after Santa Rosa, we can add in a waypoint here. Which should allow us... What signal is that? Is that the one there? We can probably just remove that, I'm guessing, and it won't impact anything. Cool. This is highly irregular. Are we sure we want to be doing this? Okay, I'm just going to leave you to do your thing and pretend I'm not seeing this. One thing we can definitely do in conjunction with adding this relief line is that we can upgrade some of our older rolling stock that's probably been on the rails for maybe a little bit too long. And that will hopefully allow some of these trains to start to get up this hill a little bit faster. I do want to start with our Cross River freight train because that's going to be sort of one of the longer and heavier trains running through here. And then potentially we'll look at some of these marble and stone trains potentially. But yeah, if we look at our Cross River freight trip train, we have 6 of these old 460s, I think they are. And we can definitely get rid of all of those pretty much in their entirety and replace them with some copies of our Atlantic. So that is actually what we're going to do here. This is going to sort of mess things up for a little bit, but I'm just going to scrap these entirely and make 6 copies. Then yes, we have these LA to Laredo Stone trains. They are really sucking up capacity on this network due to how slow they are going up this grade. So we might as well get these replaced. Once again, in their entirety, I will get a new train purchased because we've got some new carriages as well that we can use. And we will use those instead. So we'll be hopping over to a Pacific using some H21 hoppers. Did not mean to get a baggage car on there. That was my bad. And we're going to get pretty close to being poor, I think. So let's see if we can fit one more in. We can. Perfect. So we will apply that to the LA to Laredo Stone line. And then we'll sell off the 3 old trains and make 2 copies of this one. And that should, assist us in speeding up the sort of journey up our grade here quite significantly as well. All right, on to our main build for today. So we did build this little stub of our Salem branch, which now runs through to Fulton. And what we'd like to do with this one, we want to extend it through to San Francisco, Flint, Cedar Rapids, and then return to Roseville. So this will give us another sort of left-right connection on our map here, which I think is quite important because we are lacking that a little bit. So this should be fairly simple to build. We don't have a lot of conflict points. We've not built, you know, a lot of this area here. So we just need to site our stations. At San Francisco, I think we're probably actually going to go along this little river here because it looks like that's potentially going to be easier. And Flint probably doesn't really matter all that much. And Cedar Rapids will go along this right side from our point of view here. So starting out at LA, we're just going to pull out this little road here. Place a passenger station down. So connect up these roads as well to increase the throughput there. Next at Flint, probably along the right side here as well, we will build an additional road here. And Cedar Rapids. Fairly simple. Not a lot of connectivity at Cedar Rapids though. We can increase that by punching a connection through here, but still not a massive amount. So obviously we're going to need to get bus or tram services up and running at all of these locations. Now, first of all, from Fullerton, our connection is going to be fairly simple. We should be able to keep this fairly flat and fairly high speed. I'm not really foreseeing any issues doing that. I do realize I'm not using overhead, so I've just quickly fixed that and we will need to update it as well. These are all really simple connections, so I don't imagine us having any issues at all getting this to work. We should be able to pretty much just directly connect this, I think, actually. But we do have a collision, which is there. Okay, so that's okay. We can just punch through here. And then from here on, we shouldn't have any further problems. And Cedar Rapids is once again, it's really simple connection, barely any effort required to make it work. Do have some slope complaints here, but that was very easy to fix up. Where it becomes a little bit tricky, and not even that tricky, but it is something we need to consider, is we're going to need to bend the rail around when we're coming into Roseville, which I think probably makes sense for us to actually start at Roseville to be able to do this. And then I think we can pretty much go under the mountain here, to be honest. Yeah, quite a simple connection, actually. Lovely. So we've got our connection. We just need to signal and get in any crossovers at our station, and then we're good to pretty much get some trains running here. All right, there we go. We've got our line built and signaled. So now we should be good just to get our existing Salem branch, which is obviously going to be called something else now, get all of the connections made there, and probably add a few more trains to it as well. We did have a little bit of a complaint there, which I'm assuming is because we haven't electrified Roseville. Yep, part of that is now solved. What is our other problem? Still can't connect all stations though. What are we missing out on connecting? Why do we have two? Oh no, sorry, that's electrified. I was wondering why we've got two different trains running here. So we're missing a little bit of electrification here, possibly, or somewhere along here. Maybe? Or we're wanting to use the wrong set of tracks is the other option. We want to use two there, and we want to use one in the other direction. Okay, easy, that's fixed. So our new line is now done. Call it Chandler to Roseville via Fullerton. And I think we might get two additional rail cars running off for the moment, and then we'll see obviously how the existing fleet is handling that capacity. And I think for the remainder of this episode, we've got a lot of cash to burn, obviously, you know, billions worth. So I would like to take the opportunity just to look at all of our freight lines, see where we've got goods starting to pile up that potentially aren't getting where they need to go, and strengthen and increase the capacity on each of those lines to be able to shift goods a bit quicker. I'm going to start over here at LA. As you can see, everything needs to move quicker here. So our trip train, 100%, we need more liquids. So I will take the opportunity now. I know I've used Pacifics and Atlantics on our freight lines. I know Pacifics generally are used for passenger. I don't know if it's the same in America. We have Pacifics, you know, in Australia, all that, and they were used for both. But I think we'll keep using Pacifics for freight. I do apologize if this is offending anyone. But yeah, they're used for both here, and that's why I've chosen that option. So we will get some new 8,000 gallon tank cars here. I'm not sure what the correct branding to use on these is, so we'll just use some regular sort of generic branding. And this might take us down to poor again. No, we just survived there. So we're going to put this on our sort of main freight line. We've got 345. What have we got waiting there? We've got 427. So I think that should be enough to get things moving. If we look at our stone line, we've got a lot waiting, but we've just recently replaced all the trains on that. And I think they didn't actually end up stopping. They all sort of went off to Laredo, and they're now on their way back. So I might leave that just for a little bit and see if we get some improvement there after maybe a year or so. LA to Laredo freight, we're once again struggling with our liquids. Let's have a look. I think we've got two dedicated. Yeah, we do. But what we might do is we'll take this one and potentially upgrade it to use the new 8,000 gallon tank cars. let's see what we've actually got on there at the moment and the difference. So our tank cars right now, capacity is 12. And these ones are 15 and they're faster as well. So I might actually do that. We'll get rid of these old tank cars and we'll get the new ones running. So capacity is 255 on that now. If we compare that to, I didn't actually check what it was before, but if we have a look at this one, it is 216. So yeah, definitely a significant increase in the capacity there. So we'll run with that. All right, a little bit of a glow up there. This one here is also, I think, actually... Yeah, it is. How old are you? You're quite old now, aren't you? Yeah, so we might actually sell this guy off and just get another new fuel train running on it. Next, over at Laredo, Cross River freight train is looking okay. LA to Laredo, those two we're going to leave because we've just covered them off anyway. Laredo to Chandler via Albuquerque has a little bit of fuel waiting. What are we running here? Running a mix. So we've got this guy. Where are you at? Over here. So we've got a little bit of fuel. Not a massive amount. I think we can leave that for the moment and just see how it gets on over a couple of years or so. And then our Laredo to Dayton freight line is struggling in the fuel sort of point of view. So we'll get another 240 meter long fuel train, which should cover off most of our excess demand there. And yeah, I think we've only got 2 stations on that line that are requesting fuel. So I wonder if we're shipping some through as well. Oh well, that should be fine anyway. So we'll take our LA to Laredo freight line. I'm going to copy one of our fuel trains and then we'll just turn it over to the Laredo to Dayton freight line. And that should be fine there. Looking at our alcohol distillery at Albuquerque, we've got a lot of alcohol that we're not shipping. And part of that is because we have fairly limited capacity. This is still single track mostly, so we will actually upgrade this section to double and then we'll be able to get an additional boxcar service on to ship that alcohol. All right, that upgrade's done. So we can now get a further alcohol train in. We should be able to take this one up to 320. I think our initial or our current train is not a 320 meters long train. We can get a few different vehicles in here. We can even get some cores in as well. Very cool. Schlitz. Oh, actually, wow. These are actually quite heavy, aren't they? So we can only get it up to 240 using our Pacific. And that's fine. So we've still got a significant amount of capacity here. We can probably even get a second one on. And we can switch those onto our Albuquerque to Oklahoma alcohol line. And what is our current train? What's the capacity on that one? Our current capacity is 147. And what was that? 250-ish, I think, was it? Yeah, so it's pretty decent. We're more than tripling our capacity. So that you probably can't do much better than that. We'll leave the original old train on there, at least for the moment, and we'll see how we're going with increasing the capacity here. Area to LA Grain, it needs some fattening up. I believe we actually had to delete one of the trains. It was the one that was just having other trains run through it. I could not get it to run, so we had to get rid of it. So probably we'll try and get another 2 on there, I think. How are we looking here? So we're almost maintaining production at our chemical plant, but I think if we can get 2 more trains on there, hopefully we can start to keep production going sort of on an ongoing basis rather than having to wait for more grain to come in. So we'll need to use some of these gondolas as our hopper cars, I mean, it makes sense, don't actually carry grain. So that should be okay. Obviously, these are going to be slower than we normally would have, but we can get in a full 310 meter long rake. We'll get 2 in and put those onto the line straight away. That should be pretty good. I'm keeping in mind that we do have some significant backups while we're getting all these trains built, but that all should hopefully, I guess, thin out a little bit once we're on to hopefully getting that all in. How are things looking over here at Oklahoma? So, Cross River Freight Train's looking okay. Laredo to Oklahoma is potentially could go with boosting. What are we looking like there? We've got 3 trains running there. We could definitely replace one with a new Pacific or something like that. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to get this guy here, well, pretty much replaced. We'll pull everything off and we will get new cars running instead. We will use refrigerated cars, I think, for our boxcar replacement. I think that makes sense. Oh, actually, it doesn't make all that much sense because there's some things here that we're not actually going to cover with it. So we'll use boxcars in that case. That's okay. We will use our 8,000 gallon, I should say, tank cars. And then head up the rear with flat cars. Cool. Onto our little coffee chain here. This is actually something I have been wanting to work on for a while. Just haven't got around to it. Obviously, we've got a lot of coffee beans wanting to be transported that we're not really doing much with. So we can add in probably a passing loop on this section of track, duplicate our train, and also get it upgraded to a new fresh one as well. So we'll just get all of this removed. Get a Pacific running here. I don't think we need reefers running on this. I imagine these would not be refrigerated, so we'll just run hopefully 320 meters long worth of boxcars. Perfect. That does pretty much double the capacity here, so I might just leave it for a little bit and see what sort of improvements we see there. And we shouldn't need to do anything with the coffee, like the roasted coffee connection. I think that'll be fine as it is right now. Now, we're once again going to be on what was formerly the Salem branch and is now, of course, Chandler to Roseville via Fullerton. And let's jump on and hopefully once again experience some high-speed EMU action. Hope you enjoy. And here we are arriving at the end of the line at Roseville. So yeah, once again, really nice, smooth, speedy trip on this new line with these new EMUs. So I'm really happy with that. Obviously, it's a very sparsely populated line. We are definitely going to have some freight running on it in not too long. But I hope the passengers enjoyed that sort of brief, really express type trip before we have freight trains and stuff jumping in there and possibly getting in the way a little bit. But hope you enjoyed it. Well, that is going to be about all we have time for in this episode. So I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you get a ding to your device the next time I post a video. You can find links to all my social media in the description, so please jump on there, like, follow, subscribe, do all that absolutely wonderful stuff. A big shout out to my Founders Club patrons, Caleb and Isaiah. Thank you so much for supporting the content. But until next time, I'm Bob Dendry. This is Transport Fever 2, The Long Game. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.